acoustic version of Dancing Girls from No Frills. Let's listen to this intro. Alright, tabs on the screen, capo at the 3rd fret. We are thinking in B minor here, pretty much, which we'll get to in a minute. So the key here, assign these 3 fingers to 3 specific strings. Thumb to A, index to D, middle to G. To start off, you do an open A string, and then a hammer on B, C sharp. Do not let this finger come off the fretboard after the hammer, because then you need to pop the open D. Make it a 4-note sequence. And work on getting it up to speed. Time takes time. That repeats twice. Listen. Alright, the 3rd time, get that. And it's actually a lot simpler than it sounds. Hammer on, and then instead of just doing the open D, you do the open D, but you hammer onto E and pull off. So if you need to practice, just hold your ring finger there and just pop that open D and practice hammering on and pulling off. And then add that in. The last part is a roll. It's like a banjo style roll, kind of. Thumb, index ring, thumb, index, middle, down those 3 notes. C sharp, open, open. Like this. And just build up speed. So the whole thing together. Work on that. The very end is a 4-note sequence. B twice, A twice, G twice, and E twice. Now, of course, I'm referring to the notes as if the capo was the nut, right? So this is actually a G, but we're going to call it an E, because as guitar players, it's how we think, right? That's what the capo is. It's a moving nut. All right, so there we have our intro. Let's move into our, before we get to the verse, we have another sort of chordal intro here. Let's check that out. And I'll play along with it. Okay, it's a 2-chord sequence, as you can see. Well, it's really a 1 chord with a different bass note. So we have a B minor, and notice waltz time, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Thumb is 1. These 3 fingers are 2 and 3. And you're always going to be plucking the D, G, and B strings unless I tell you otherwise. Well, not I tell you otherwise, but based on what he did. And then alternate the bass down to the F sharp. So make the chord like this, and just go like this. And then you'll hear him go open A, back down with the B. Very nice. Now you'll also notice he throws in some little stuff like this. Listen. Guess what? I'm not going to teach you that because I don't really like the way it sounds. I think it's... Listen, I've been playing this song and I performed it, I can't even tell you how many times on solo shows since I first heard him do this in like 2009, 2010. and I've always skipped that little funky picking thing. I just don't really care for it, so I'm reserving the right to not teach it, and I just play it straight through like this. He does quite a bit of this little stuff in the song, and I'm not going to talk about any of it because I don't like how any of it sounds. Very rarely do I not like anything Nik does. Like there's, you know, like maybe 5 standard deviations or something, right? So hate on me all you want, but you're going to get a great lesson here on the rest of the song. But I'm not going to go into the much into that stuff at all. All right. So that brings us up to our verse where he starts to sing. Now, if you've seen any of my other videos, you know I love to break down the harmony and go into, like, you know, talk about what keys and scales and modes and stuff that he's doing. I'm going to go a little light on this one. I'll link you to a video below where it was done by Jonas Wolf. So I would recommend his video. And I may throw in a bit of stuff here and there, but I'm going to go a little lighter than usual on the analysis, as it has already been done by a much better mind than myself. So let's listen to the verse, and I'm going to play through it. Okay, we're going to break this into 2 pieces because it's a lot easier to break this into chunks. So we start with a B minor, and then we go to a B minor 7 with F sharp in the bass. So you get, then we go to an E, and then we have an interesting one. It looks like an E minor. Excuse me. It looks like an E minor, right? But we're actually going to pluck the B as our bass note. You get, you know, sort of a very E minor sound. So we'll call that an E minor over B, as B is our bass. All right, so all together so far. And then we get a D sus2 or D, let's call it a D5. We're not playing the high E string, so we get that chord there. We'll call it a D5. And this is one of the times where we only do a 2-string pluck. So we have the thumb on the open D, and we hit those 2 strings there on that D, and then we go to a simple A major. The reason I'm fretting it like this and not like this is because I'm not playing that high E, and it's just real easy to fret those or pluck those strings like that. And that's an A major chord. So all together, all 6 chords are then we go to a B major, and then a B major with an F sharp bass. So we started with a B minor and a B minor with an F sharp bass, and we end with a B major. That's a technique called a Picardy third. It's a harmonic device where you're in a minor key, in this case B minor, and we end a melodic sequence on the major. So we end with a major third. The third of B minor is D. Third of B minor, B major, pardon me, is D sharp. So the Picardy third is really that chord, that B major chord there. And that's I wouldn't say common, but it's not an uncommon device in music. So I would suggest you research Picardy thirds. So it gives it a really nice flavor. So it's, you know, it's minor, and then it ends in a major way, and then it immediately goes back to minor again. The E major is a standout here because that's not in the key of B minor. That's basically a borrowed chord from B major. So Nik's music is full of these types of tricks. And that's our first part of our verse. The second part of our verse is a little bit different, so let's listen to that. I'll go backwards a little bit here. Here we go. So I want to make this video as short as possible because these things can get long sometimes. So we just repeat the same first 4 chords. B minor 7 over F sharp, E, E minor over B. And then we repeat the D. But then we go to a G and to a C. Add 9, C add 9. We're not playing that high E there. G to C add 9. So we're temporarily changing out of B minor into C major. The G is acting as the 5 of the C chord here. We need to get to A minor for the chorus. So going from C to A minor is a relative major, relative minor relationship, and it's a nice way of getting us to the chorus. So same thing again, and then after we hit that twice, we run down to an open A. Let me just play that last little phrase for you. Right? Okay. So in context, it would sound like very nice. Down to the open A, which sets us up for the chorus. So let's find the chorus, and I'll play through that for you. That you can be sure when the dancing girls take off the cold night and the sad day. Bring on the dancing girls, take off the twilight and the sky so bright. They dance for him inside his head. Alright, that's a chord bonanza. It's also a harmonic bonanza. What I'm going to do, for the sake of brevity and for your concentrations, I'm just going to show you the chords, and I'll probably splice in some full screen overlays here that will explain the harmony a bit to you. Okay, so we start then on that walk down, and we're in A minor here, but the first chord is an A sus. A sus 2, and then we hit the A minor, A sus 2, A minor. So it's a sus 2 going to a minor. Cool. That 4-chord sequence begins with D minor to a modified C chord. This is a C sus 4. There's your C. We're just adding that finger there to make it a sus 4. And our bass is the 3rd of that chord, which is the note E. E is the 3rd of C. So you have a C sus 4 over E. Then we have a nice F chord. Everyone knows that. And then we have an interesting version of a G. It's this instead of this, right? What we're doing here, if I can show you, my middle finger's in the way. It's there and there. That's a G sus 4. And what he does is he resolves it to just a G by pulling that finger off. No high E here, guys. So all together. So the whole chorus, that up to that part, goes. Right, you've got to get that D in that D minor. All right, and those chord changes aren't too hard because, yeah, they're just not really hard at all. Just you might need to familiarize yourself with that C sus 4, but otherwise you shouldn't have any trouble with that. That's our first part. The second part of the chorus is going to have the same A sus to A minor, but the last 4 chords are going to be transposed to a different key. So let's listen to that. All right, now listen up. All right, that goes up higher. So we have... All right, what the heck is that? It's an F minor. This is an interesting one if you've never done this chord before. This is an E flat with a G in the bass. So underneath here you have an E flat chord, or an E flat 5, E flat, B flat, E flat, with a third of the chord in the bass. This chord here is a Nik special. It's in a lot of his music. I highly suggest you practice that change from that chord to that chord, because it's in a ton of his music and a ton of my other videos as well. All right, that's a bit difficult. That one, if you've never done before, will take practice. But there's a lot of techniques in this song that will make you a much better player. So let me try to stay on track here. Those 4 chords: F minor, E flat with a G bass. E flat with a G bass, then to A flat, then to B sus 4, B flat sus 4, I should say, B flat sus 4. So F minor, E flat with a G bass, E flat, not A flat, then to an A flat major, then B flat sus 4. And we end by resolving to the B major with the F sharp alternating. So altogether, you get... Cool, right? A lot of chords, a lot of stuff going on. Great practice. You'll learn a lot by doing this. So I think I'll just, as a courtesy, just play through the whole chorus one more time. Then it just repeats. Second verse, same as the first.
Second verse, same as the first.
Oh, a little too soon there, but anyway, you get it. He goes a little lower, slower that time. Listen. Does it? I think he does it twice here. Yeah, that little sneaky bastard.
You fucking sneaky bastard.
He plays that C twice the second time around. So just stay on it twice and then do your rundown to your chorus. How about that, huh? That's Dancing Girls for the most part. Now there is a little bit more coming up here. There's a little bridge section. But I do want to mention one small thing about some technique. If you see Nik play this, you'll notice he's doing one thing particularly different than me. And that is when he plays a bar chord, he is playing it with 3 fingers like that and his index like this. I really can't do that because my physiology is very different from Nik. How to be delicate about this. I'm a whole foot taller and I have big hands. And my big hands are not great for guitar, and they don't I just can't physically make that. I just can't do it at this point in my life after I've been playing for so long. I have to do them this way. But he does it like that, and I wish that I could, because he can do something I can't, and that is he can vibrato power chords. So great. And you'll hear him, if you listen closely, you can hear he's putting vibrato on those power chords. I can kind of do it a little bit, but not the way he can, and I wish that I could. I'm super jealous of his dexterous ability to do that. Maybe if I worked on it, but it feels like I'm just ripping apart the ligaments and shit right in the webbing of my hand if I do that. So if you can make your bar chords, like this, in that position, do it and put that vibrato in there. So what we've gone through so far is the majority of the song. So let's just talk about the little bridge part that happens towards the end of the song. So let's scoot forward a little bit. Okay, now after the second chorus, now it goes up to C here, listen. Back to our normal verse. So that middle part there, right, is very simple. Just watch that double bass on the way up and the way down. Now again, he's throwing in this, let's see if I can do it. I've never practiced it. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I don't like the sound of that stuff. But I'll tell you what he's doing. He's taking that B chord and pulling open those bottom two strings and using those two fingers right there to get that sound while going. So he's going, when he goes to the C, the strings are open on the bottom here. So I guess you could call that like a C major 7. And you get that on the G and the B string here. I don't like the way it sounds. I don't perform it that way. If you're upset that I'm not teaching it to you, then hey bro, I don't know what to tell you. Alright, so I just play it straight through like that. I like the way that sounds.
I like the way that rolls out.
Your call. Alright, if you want to learn that part, have fun, but not for me. Okay, and then we return to the verse where he sings a bit of like a, like a sort of like a scat type singing. Alright, back to our verse. Right, and then he comes back in on the chorus. And it just gets a bit quieter. Right, you can hear it's a bit more subdued. Same chords though. Alright, go through that a couple of times. right, now you can hear at the very end, he's doing that stuff again. Open B, fretted G on the 4th fret. Again, I don't do that. Feel free to hate on me for not teaching it, but he just does at the very end of the song, it just ends with a... like that. It's a B5 chord. Neither minor nor major, just a B5. Root 5 root. Listen to that one more time. Hear that? All right. So, that's the song. Really great. Chord charts included below with all the chord shapes. Some of them I put on the screen during the video. All the chord shapes are below, and the tab, of course, for the intro. So guys, thank you so much for watching this. I hope it was useful. If there's anything I can do that I didn't talk about in the song that would help you, just leave a comment, or preferably shoot me an email, and we'll look forward to catching you guys in another one of these fun breakdowns. Thank you.